Good evening. We'll call this meeting to order at 5:22. This is the Vallejo City Council special meeting. And we're here to do interviews for commissions. So we will start with the first groups of interviews are the GVRD applicants.
Oh, we gotta do roll call. So we gotta do roll.
And we'll do the roll call. Obviously, Vice Chair Bergenzer is here. J.R. Matulik is here.
Yes. And then,
Alex Matias, Charles Palmeris.
yes.
Currently missing is Quickie Gordon, Tanya Ledeju, and the mayor is excused.
Yes.
And so our two candidates for this interview, we have Felicia King, is that right?
Yes.
And then Jose. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and we're going to ask a series of questions, and then we'll have time at the end for you to ask any questions that you might have of the commission or of the council.
Okay.
And so we'll go right down the line. So JR, do you want to ask the first
Sure.
question?
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time to apply and for these open positions. So my question let me start with Jose is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Primary focus would be seeing everything that gets tossed around in the news, is making sure that the financial side of things get put in a way so that programs like, it's not just about JVRD. My daughter goes to Highland, and I know that part of the funding, part of the programs that come out of GVRD handle and supplement the after-school programs. So that's what I'd like to see continue.
Thank you for that. And then Ms. King, how about yourself? Would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
Yes. So what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Primary focus, I think I would have to start with listening to what the community most primary concerns are. And from there, figuring out where the gaps are, where the barriers are in order to be successful in that area. And then work with the board members to make it happen.
Thank you for your answer.
Great. I will ask the next question. Can you please give me, I will ask you first. Can you please give me an example of programs for youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed?
Thank you for that question. Because from personal experience, I think GVRD covered everything that my child needed during their development age. But today's youth, I think, could use more safe, open recreational spaces for mental coaching, a safe space where they'll be able to thrive, discussing their insecurities or issues. I think more teen or even preteen chats or gathering spaces, just a place where you can really have creative thoughts and come up with things to kind of, make their schools and workspaces better.
Thank you so much. And I'll ask you the same question. Do you want me to repeat it?
I'm sure.
Okay. It is, please give an example of programs for youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed.
Well, I'm not going to speak to what I know. I don't know much. I've been here for 5 years. Came over from Richmond. And so what's worked over there and what I really liked in Richmond was the PAL Activities League. So something similar like that, and make sure that there's a continuation. I know that there's been a program that's like that, that's co-funded or basically ran, and it's backed by the police department, to have that community cohesiveness, to make sure that the youth understand that police officers are not the enemy. They're there to enforce the law. They're there to protect us and patrol, making sure that the youth understands that they're an authority. And so if we're doing something wrong, we have to make sure that, there's consequences to it. And if we train the youth to understand that, there are rules and regulations that we have to abide with. If you have a program like that where, they go in and they play basketball day in and day out with coaches that are actually police officers, it creates a good community.
Great. Thank you so much. And we'll go to Alex Mateix next.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So my question is, and I'll start with Mr. Padilla first. What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
From what I've seen is, a lot of talk within the school system, within the district that's basically, cutting back. We're coming from that 20-year, exodus of the state pulling away from correcting everything. And so I see there's a lot of after-school programs that are basically going to pull away. And so GVRD is pretty much the stopgap or basically the filler. And if the school district is not, providing that, I see GVRD stepping in and basically carrying the torch.
Thank you, Ms. King. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
Please.
What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
I think it looks like working with what we have and making it excel. I know that right now we have a lot of after-school programs in all of our public schools, and I can see that developing to where some of the older kids mentor some of the younger kids. I think just expanding on what we have by strengthening whatever programs we have established, and really creating a community of each one help one, really enforcing leadership and explaining how that works, mentorship and explaining how that works, and getting the kids to trust themselves, I think is really a mechanism that we can teach the youth. So once we instill it in them, that that's how we'll be able to really strengthen what we have. And in 2 years, I think I would just like to see it get more well connected and get more community engagement and just work with whatever we have.
Thank you.
And we'll next hear from Charles Palmares.
Vice Mayor, may I amend the question just a little bit? Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, this is to Ms. King. How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
How would I improve it?
Yes, ma'am. Increase positive relationships.
Yes, I think that a big part of that is by being an active listener. That is something that I myself had to learn. I have very good communication skills, but I had to learn how to listen so I can really dig into deep to what the need is. And I think when the community is being heard, that's really half the battle. I think in order to strengthen the relationships with the school districts, the community, and most importantly, the kids and the seniors that we serve, to start by listening to what they want, because it's what our kids in schools need after school is going to be a lot different from what our seniors are lacking and what they could use to make themselves thrive. So, really get a landscape of what the need is, understand what the community is feeling and what they want us to understand and hear, and move forward with that.
Great. Mr. Padilla, would you like to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
Well, so it's like macro, micro. So if there's no designated like maybe, representatives or, what would you call them? Somebody that's a youth person, let's say, and they go out, they're the ones that basically will go to the schools. Definitely, it wouldn't be me, it would be, some member of, leadership, somebody that's, in leadership in high school that wants to volunteer and be the liaison, be the spokesperson to bring all these different departments, and basically create that, cohesive communication to make sure that everybody understands, even though we're here and we're part of Vallejo, there's other programs that supplement each other. And that's how you would, connect them and make sure that they grow together.
Okay, great.
I'm not sure if that was the correct answer, but that's how I see, like, you would assign a spokesperson, somebody that basically represents GVRD within the three other, sectors that you're referring to.
Got it. And Vice Mayor, I just want to add something, just kind of a typo, but I meant to say Vallejo City Unified School District. So just, okay, great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And if I can, add an action or a task list after the voice of the community is heard, establish a action plan and a checkpoint and deadlines and milestones and basically carry out a project to see what it is we want to get to and make it a goal.
Okay, the next question comes from Tanya Ledju.
Thank you. I'm going to modify my question a bit. How do you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, sexism, and classism?
How do I support?
How do you imagine yourself supporting individuals who are disproportionately affected by racism, sexism, and classism in this role? How do you see yourself doing that?
In this role?
Yes.
I would see myself doing that by first seeking out those communities that I'm not familiar with that have had those type of biases and expose myself to them, like find out where that is going on and basically being a compassionate ear to any member of the community that has had challenges and see, collaborate with my board members, collaborate with my community to see how I can offer assistance. What does that look like for that individual or that neighborhood or that area? What does that look like? And where I don't have expertise in the area, network and find out those who do and do my research to figure out not only how to solve the problem, but try to eliminate it going forward. What education can be put in place to kind of not only strengthen the victim of those biases, but learn the community around to, how can we break away from those things?
Thank you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, that's fine.
Okay. thank
I
you.
would say, empathy would be, the word to basically guide and dictate, how you treat every single individual. I think, everybody, I would like to say mostly everybody, we all have a nose, so to ears, so everybody's equal. And so the people that are been disproportionate, or underserved, those are the ones that we want to make sure that we take care of first and foremost, and make sure that we approach it in a way where we remove any kind of bias and we hear what the pain points and how can we fix that. And so we go in trying to figure out how do we alleviate the pain and serve them that way. And the community will grow and trust everybody else. If you help somebody in need, then they will reciprocate. And that's pretty much what I would say, empathy.
Thank you.
And I will take Councilmember Gordon, since she's not here, her question, which is, and we'll start with you, Jose. Name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with it.
Wow. Wow. Geez. Super, there's so many. You got me there. Huh? Wow. Oh, okay, cool. So, first time immigrant coming in. My parents raised myself and three other siblings. I lived in Richmond, Knox Miller Park. As a kid, we would always go through that bridge, so the tunnel. And so I always wished that I wanted a bike. I always wished that I wanted a bike. Never got a bike. My parents never had the chance to actually afford to give me a bike as a kid. So how did I approach it? When I had money, I got myself a bike. Got in a nasty accident, and I said, "Hey, you know what? Bikes are not for me." So that was it. Sometimes life gives you lemons. Sometimes maybe it's not at the right time. So just take it with a grain of salt and learn the lesson that's in front of you.
And for you, go ahead. Do you want me to repeat the question or?
Yeah.
Okay. It is name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with it.
A time I did not get what I wanted, I believe it was 2021 or maybe 2022. I think I applied for the Planning Commission here, sat at the same table and interviewed, and I was really passionate about being a part of the Planning Commission. I had been working with my one of the council members in Southeast Vallejo, really working with her in our district to clean up a lot of things. We had a lot going on at that time. And I was on fire to serve on that commission. And I did a lot of research. I thought that I had prepared very well for the interview and wanted it really badly, and I did not get it. And I was really disappointed, but I continued to work the way I handled it. I continued to serve my community because at the end of the day, that's what was most important. And we did an excellent job cleaning up the issues that we thought that were the problem at that time. We had some big rigs in our neighborhood that just appeared overnight. There was a lot of dumping going on, and we got it straight. And we connected with a couple of local business leaders and a couple of churches, and um, you know, able to get some more community engagement around our district and what we could do to keep the neighborhoods clean, and set up little areas to donate clothes and sometimes give other resources. But at the end of the day, yeah, it was a disappointment, but the overall picture was to serve. So that's what I moved forward with.
Thank you so much. That was all of our formal questions. Do you have any questions for us, either of you?
I was thinking, when did you need to fill the position and how many positions were there?
And our director is here.
So there's one position open from the city,
Okay.
and it gets sworn in the first Friday of December.
Okay.
And our first regular meeting will be the second Thursday of December, and then that's it for December, and then we'll go on to 2 meetings in January.
Okay. So 2 meetings a month, and each meeting is 2-3 hours.
we start at 6:30 PM. And usually we're done by 9:30, I would say average.
Okay.
10 o'clock is rare.
I wish it was for us. Yes, we'll all switch over.
Sorry, this position is no longer vacant.
And
Anything
is there
else?
Any type of, is it only meetings or is there any type of field activity that includes like,
Yeah, sure. There's the regular 2 board meetings,
mhm,
then there's committee meetings, and can be on one committee to 1 or 2 committees a month.
okay,
And those times and dates change, according to the board director's schedule. But they're consistent, so if you can't make it during the day, we move it to 5 or 6 o'clock. Those usually last an hour.
okay,
And then we have ribbon cuttings and walkthroughs on properties and, all staff, holiday meetings, so there's other items that.
got it,
but
sounds
it's not
good.
like 7, 8, 8.
Mhm. Got it. Thank you.
2 in the morning. Yeah, right, yes.
No?
Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Question, so is it 2 positions that are filled outside of the city fills 3, and it's the committee's 5 board members?
The county has 2 and the city has 3.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And there's one city vacancy and there's one county vacancy currently. So there's another opportunity if you don't, because we don't select for the county, so
Right.
if you can also apply for the county position as well.
Cool.
Thank
And then
you.
how soon would we hear back from somebody?
November.
I think we make appointments on the 18th at a regular city council meeting, and then you'll be notified right after that.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank
Thank you so much for your time. Yep.
Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thanks, Gabe.
Gotta be so.
Hello. Have you share kind of a two microphones? Or do you have it? Gotcha.
Okay, and for clarity, you're Shannon, D'Angelo is you, okay, and then Joshua. Okay, I just want to make sure we had the right three. Okay. Oh,
We're good, we're good, we're good.
okay. We're all settled. Excellent. Thank you for applying for this, the GVRD board. I'm the vice mayor. Our mayor is out sick tonight. We're going to ask a series of questions. Each of us will take a question, and then we'll have time for you to ask questions at the end. That's okay? All right. So I will take the first question, and that is, please give me an example of programs of youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed, and we'll start with you and go right down the line.
Okay. I would like to see investment in Native American culture. That's something that's I don't see here in Vallejo. I see a lot in Oakland, and actually am invested myself in youth
Mhm.
and Native American culture. But here, I know we have powwows along the wharf over here, which are really great, and I would love to build off of that, honestly. So that's kind of what I'm going for.
Great. And Shannon?
Youth, I would like to see opportunities for outdoor education and opening up our green spaces.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Get a little closer. Yeah,
Sorry,
they
okay.
got to be able to hear you on TV.
Okay, more opportunities for outdoor education for our youth. And keeping our green open spaces safe and accessible to do so.
Great, thank you. And D'Angelo?
One of the things that I would like to see, I think there's opportunity for the city, particularly the GVRD, to use the facilities that are currently in existence and to create more digital literacy programs for the youth and for the seniors of the community. With everything becoming so advanced with technology now and AI becoming such a prominent force in any type of business or anything you're doing in life, I think an opportunity exists for us to create more digital literacy programming for the community.
Okay, thank you. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Leneju.
Thank you for coming tonight. Share with me and all of us, in this role, how would you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, sexism, and classism? Start on this. end.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Sorry. That's a big question. Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. In this role, how would you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, sexism, and classism?
You might have to come back to me. Yeah, please.
Go for it.
Say, environmental justice, it also ties in with my answer to my first question in rejuvenating our open spaces and bringing people together as a community in these open spaces and protecting our environment and keeping, paying attention to different policies that might, disadvantage our most vulnerable of our community in protecting our environment in that way.
For me, I'm going to say the way that we would address this, first thing we need to do is have open conversations with ourselves to understand that these things have existed. Look at what roles that our institutions, programs, or rules or regulations have played a part in supporting this, and then look at how we can dismantle those things. As we're addressing the issues that affect these various populations, we need to at different times maybe increase the amount of outreach we are doing to the communities to bring awareness to the programs and the services that we have that we're making available, and then look at how we can build and strengthen those relationships within those communities, and also look at the champions and the leaders for those communities and see how we can leverage those relationships, build stronger partnerships so that we can bring more resources to our community and more support for the people in need that live in this great city.
Ultimately, coming back, I think we should have an open conversation about everything. I don't believe in hiding. Transparency is the key. Bringing communities together, and that's kind of what we're Parks and Rec are about, right? Bringing communities together, bringing Vallejo together, bringing different cultures together, having open conversation. I think that's where we start.
Thank you all for applying. Let me go ahead and start with D'Angelo. D'Angelo, the question I have is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
My primary focus, I would say, bringing more awareness. I have been a long-term resident of Vallejo, born and raised. I participated in many of the programs as well as my children. Sometimes when we're participating in different things, the enrollments are low. And so I think bringing more awareness to it. I'm one of those people that I look forward to seeing the catalog of services, but looking at different ways that we can outreach, again, going back to my last answer about the equity, looking at how we can connect with those various communities that maybe have not had accesses to those resources, bringing those services to those communities and making sure that all the programs are accessible to everyone.
Thank you for that answer. And so to Joshua, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, actually, please.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Please.
So what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
I was once told that Vallejo is resource rich. We might not be the most wealthy city, but we have a lot of resources at our disposal. And honestly, I think we just improve on that. We have what we have in the city, and let's just keep what we have and keep building on that as a building block. So as far as adding, I don't think right now I would add anything. I would just continually just bring the community together, clean up, and slowly build on what we have.
Thank you for that answer. And Shannon, would you like me to repeat the question? Okay. The question is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Okay. I think it would be to organize and to allocate parts of the budget to prioritize, things that are important to the community and outreach for the community and asking people what they would like to see in the recreation department and go from there.
Thank you for that answer.
Hi, thank you so much for coming. Hi, thank you so much for coming out. My name is Helen Marie Gordon. I am the councilwoman for District 6. And I just want to say thank you for caring to apply for this because this is really important and dear to my heart as well. So the question I'm about to ask you is, name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with that. And I'll go with you, sir.
Wow, that's a great question. I'll start. In my current role, in my professional role, I work for the County of Marin. And in Marin County, I work in a position where I support a community service district, which is responsible for recreation services. One of the things that the service district that I'm supporting, there was a contract that we had, a architectural firm that was supposed to help redo the facilities, bring them up to date, make them look nice and new. And unfortunately, that didn't go the way that we planned. The relationship between the architectural firm and the CSD, it didn't pan out the way we would have liked to see. It seemed as if they were more concerned with the dollar that they were going to make as opposed to doing something for a community and making improvements. So that was one situation where I didn't get what I wanted because I really wanted to see improved facilities for this community. So what we did is, or what I did is I met with the general manager. We talked about other options, explore alternatives. ended the relationship with the consultant, the architectural firm, and then start looking at what repairs were immediately needed, and then start sourcing and connecting with construction. I believe it's called the Construction Guild in Marin County to find other construction laborers or workers that could come out that we can put out a RFP to get bids on the work that needs to be done. So not going in the direction that we originally planned, where we had a consultant, architectural firm to consult for us and looking to build out the facilities, but pivoting and making sure that we're utilizing the funds that were allotted to the CSD in Marin County to make the repairs and improvements on the facility so it can remain accessible for the entire community out there.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Very passionate. You, ma'am?
Yeah, I would,
Would you definitely repeat the question?
yes.
Sure. Name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with it.
Okay, okay.
In the business you
Just
might,
anything,
yes.
I never get that. So I think one of the things that I mean, what I would like to do is, when I don't get what I want, I try to find out the why behind why I'm not getting this, whatever it is. I guess a solid example, I'm on the executive committee of the Sierra Club because I felt, there were a lot of things happening with the environment and I kind of felt helpless and I thought, well, how can I help? How can this, what can I do? How can I have some kind of hope? So in doing that, it's like I learned as much as I possibly could because I have no idea what, to do about this situation. And so I immersed myself in educating myself in the problem and put myself in the position to be a part of the change. And that's why I'm here today as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And would you like me to repeat the question, sir?
No, I'm good. I mean, there's a lot of situations that you're never going to get what you want. I mean, I didn't get all the green lights that I wanted and I thought I was going to be late, but here we are, right? I mean, I've done some policies in the city of Oakland where I work and you never attack. The other side of the table is not your adversary, it's the problem, right? So you're working with other ones to figure out how can you find middle ground or attack the problem. So, I mean, you're figuring out what the problem is, you're working, you're collaborating, you're figuring out, and you're moving forward. And that's the best you can do in any situation. Doesn't matter what it is.
Thank you for sharing.
Good evening. Thank you for replying. I'm going to start with Mr. Trujillo.
Yeah.
How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
More festivals, more things at the park, more activities, general awareness. Again, we're resource rich, having a lot more activities that more people are aware of, community gatherings. Probably with that. Yeah, probably stick with that.
Great, appreciate it.
Mhm.
And Mr. Ramirez?
Between all of those and lots of outreach, community outreach, in-person outreach, which goes along with like the festivals and bringing people together. But I mean, so the school district, the county of Solano, and who else? Just the community in general,
Yeah, City of Vallejo,
the city.
Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD itself.
Tying them all together. Yeah, I would say bringing more culturally diverse festivals and traditions and more outreach in that way, like bringing inclusion to all the different communities of, I think we're like the most diverse city one of the most diverse cities in the Bay Area. So I would say like, inclusion of every type of, community that that we have and beyond, and creating festivals and education around things like that.
Great. And could you pronounce your last name? I just want to make
Yes,
sure.
it's Paulette.
Paulette.
Yes.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you.
Go ahead.
So for me, the way that I would approach that, I think the first thing is to have conversations with all those individuals, to make sure that we are all on the same page, understanding the goals of the elected officials and the leaders that have been designated for those various roles, and making sure that we can come to a common ground and see what we can accomplish as a team. I think the first step that we need to look at is not looking at each organization as an individual organization, but looking at it as a collective whole, and how we can move together, unified, to make a positive impact. As I think about like the school districts, thinking about like what type of programs or where there may be gaps within the school districts, and seeing how the GVRD could potentially support those. Going back to my previous answer where I talked about digital literacy, with the schools now administering Chromebooks for a lot of the students. Are there programs that we have in place here at the GVRD, or are there things that we can put in place to help support the youth that are currently in school? Looking at the board of supervisors, connecting with our district supervisor, understanding the goals that they have for the city of Vallejo, as well as the mayor, and trying to see where we can unify and come together as a team and work together collectively to address the needs of our community.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for applying. I'm gonna start with Ms. Ramirez on this question. What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
Future?
What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
I would like to see. So I'm a mom. I have 5 kids. So a lot of parents that I know do not put their kids in the programs in Vallejo, in the recreation. They go outside the city to American Canyon, Benicia, anywhere but Vallejo. You know, they think that it's not organized enough, or the leaders aren't qualified, or it's not safe. So what I would want to see is every family in my neighborhood participating in all the programs that the recreation has to offer. That's what I would like to see in the next 2 years.
Thank you for that. And we'll move over to you. Would you like for me to repeat the
No,
question?
thank you. For me, the future of recreation in Vallejo, what I see in my mind, I envision beautiful fields accessible to all in our community, regardless of race, ethnicity, um, physical abilities, so accessible facilities, fields. I also see partnerships, partnerships that maybe are not currently in existence. One that pops into my mind right away as I think about the Sarner Flag Football League, and looking at programs such as like Sarner League, the various Little League programs, and how can we partner with them to leverage funding and bring activities to our community to where people can get excited about it. I know currently right now there isn't a Pop Warner currently in existence in Vallejo, and I think that's an opportunity for us as the GVRD to bring back Pop Warner back to our community, to give the children in this community something else to be excited about as well.
Thank you, Mr. Palat, and we'll come over to Mr. Trujillo. Would you like for me to repeat?
I'm good. It's all about rebranding. I mean, everybody I talk to, I'm a huge proponent of this city. So everybody I talk to, and I have 2 little ones myself, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this in the city, I'm doing this town, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what? Vallejo has stuff like that? And I'm like, what? Really? And it's simply just getting us out there and telling people about it, and talking, instead of talking about crime and safety and all that stuff, talk about the positives in the city, right? We have so much to offer. And so we just need to get away from that negative image and just foster that positivity and start showing people and bringing people into the collective. When I try to bring people from other towns, they're like, and I'm like, what are you worried about, man? So I'm just saying, just kind of rebranding, refostering our community.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, thank you very much. That was it for our questions. Do you have any questions for us, or the director of GVRD is here?
Hello.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what, with this board here, what do you think the greatest challenge for the GVRD board, the greatest challenge that the GVRD board will face?
It's always money, but
It's gotta be prioritizing, we had facilities that needed to be repaired for a long time. They were dilapidated, and we spent a lot of money fixing them up. I think the next phase is pursuing activities for you. And also having the board, there's gonna be two positions open, one through the city, but I think the board needs to be a team, and I'm glad they picked other questions that they had. What happens if you don't get what you want? I think there has to be, the bridges need to connect between not only our board, because they also need to connect with the city of Vallejo, city council members. They need to connect with the school board and also with the citizens. So I think that is the, communication, not just with the community, but with the leaders, and figuring out what our core is. It's Parks and Rec, but what percentage is parks, what percentage is recreation? I would just sum it up like that. I did not plan that.
good pitch. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
Come on down and take a seat. I just want to clarify you. We have John, Ryan, and Vincent. Is that right? Okay, great. Great. So we're ready to start. I'm the vice mayor of the city council. Our mayor is out sick tonight, but we will ask a series of questions. And then at the end, we'll have time for you to ask questions of us. Okay. So I will ask the first question, and we'll start at this end and we'll just work our way down. So can you please give an example of programs for youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed?
Sure. Speaking directly, my son's 5 and we're looking to get him into the swimming lessons in Vallejo, and that's been challenging. So I would see, for, just personally speaking, an expansion on that, and specifically a way to better notify like the sign up times for all the different programs and the seasonality that goes with that.
Great.
Well, right now, actually, we're kind of working on it, is to bring a youth program to Hans Park, to the disc golf park there at Hans, and, try to give an opportunity for the youth in town to find out that that's a very nice way for them to spend a day, get a lot of exercise, and it's all outdoors. So we're actually kind of working on that now. Great.
Okay, I would have said swimming also, but I think mentorship is a big part of what's missing in the city also. We've done a lot of sports with GVRD and my own youth program, but swimming is a big one, and having a mentor, a solid mentor program.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Thank you for coming. In this role, how would you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, by sexism and by classism?
Sure. I think it's about meeting the community where they are. And so it's feet on the streets, and it's going into those communities in those areas that you highlighted, and like, yeah, meeting the community where they are and informing them of what programs are available, and more importantly, finding out what they need that they're not getting.
Excuse me, I think that, the mission statement of GBRD and, to provide healthy living through recreation and for people to be safe. And so I think if you provide things for our youth to do, then when they grow up, perhaps they'll be able to interact a little bit better. And the words that we're using right now, hopefully in 15 years, right, they'll be looking at it and laughing. So maybe not laughing, but.
Well, yes, again, I have a lot of experience working in the trenches. And you have to meet the people, the parents of these kids, and understanding what they really need is big.
Thank you all for applying. Let me go ahead and start with Mr. Riley. My question to you is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
I think that it's been touched on a little bit just by the answers that we're hearing right now, right? Is providing a better way to notify, educate the public on the programs that we have and hear from them about perhaps the programs that they'd like to be able to see. I mean, I took part in GVRD my whole life. And so, I'd like to think that was a big part of shaping my character. And I think we need to pay it forward.
Thank you for that question. Mr. Woodward, would you like me to repeat?
Woodard,
I'm sorry, Mr.
Wonderful.
Woodard, would you like me to repeat that question?
Can you repeat it, please?
Sure, yes. What is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Basically reaching the parents first, having different meetings with them and seeing what they need, and actually having the kids have more participation from the kids. And we have to go through the parents in order to do that. And that's also a big piece to getting the community together, going through the parents.
And same question to you, Mr. Bartow. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Yes. So what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
I mean, I want to get in and understand the budget more, but in general, in expanding the programs and understanding what's working, what's not working from an allocation resource standpoint, so that we can maximize the budget and the resources that are available.
Thank you for that answer.
Hello, welcome. I'm so happy to see you all. Thank you so much for caring enough to apply. My name is Helen Marie Gordon. I represent District 6. And I get to ask you this very important question. Name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with it. And I will start with you, Mr. O'Reilly.
Right. Noah.
Sorry, Mr. Riley. Sorry about that.
Wow.
I done messed up already. No, I was gonna say John,
That's okay.
I apologize, but Mr. Riley.
Gosh, it's a time that I didn't get what I wanted, and how did I deal with it? Wow. Every election, usually. You keep your, everybody that knows me knows the phrase, chin up, head down, always moving forward. And if you're not facing failure, you're not doing things, is how I've always thought about it. Not so much, keeping score, but learning from those experiences.
Thank you for sharing that. And the next question would be to you, Mr. Brian. How you pronounce your last name? Make sure I say it right.
Bartow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I want to say thank you to you as well for applying. What's the time that you did not get what you wanted, and describe how you dealt with it?
Sure. So I moved to Vallejo 3 years ago from Richmond, and we chose the house in the neighborhood we did because we're very close to Highland Elementary, and we're just so excited to get a house. And Like I said earlier, my son is 5 now, almost 6. And so we had these romantic visions of walking our son to school every morning. And that was something, I mean, to the extent that kind of chose our house in the area we did for that reason, big part of the reason. Well, after living here and kind of investigating the schools more, understanding what programs were available in the schools, we found Cave Elementary, which is like a bilingual language school. So lottery school, we applied, got in there. That was actually great, but that romantic vision of, you know, walking my son to school for 10 years just vanished in a heartbeat like that. So I didn't get what I wanted from that sense, but it was a good example of something that kind of led to a better outcome, hopefully. So
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And to you, sir?
Okay, there was a time where I went for a director position in the rec department in San Francisco. And I didn't get it, and I thought I was a sure in. But the way I dealt with that, I talked to some of my mentors, and they said, Vince, you're gonna be good. And I've been working with youth for over 30 years. So that's how I dealt with
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you.
it. Mhm.
Good evening. Thank you for applying. I want to start with Mr. Bartow. How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
it's a good one. It's a good one. Thank you for the question. Again, I'm a very data-driven person, so I'd want to understand more of the data available that would speak to that. But it's community involvement at the end of the day, and that's why I'm here and why I came here. I believe that change starts with oneself, and so I need to get into it to see more of what's going on there. But
Great. And I'll go with Mr. Woodard.
Yes,
Would you like me to repeat the question?
yes.
How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
I think the first thing you would have to do would be bringing people together, whether it be a community meeting or where everybody comes involved. Start there, and then we start bringing the parents involved as a community, and then we get to understanding their needs, and then what we do have to offer and how often, things of that nature.
Great. And Mr. Riley, would you like me to repeat the
I
question?
know I've been dealing with that same nightmare scenario for about 40 years now, right? I mean, seriously, I think what you need to do, you know, everything starts with a collaboration, and that's what we're talking about trying to do. And so I think perhaps finding those things that every entity can agree is important to the citizens of Vallejo and their constituents, and work on trying to make that better. And in the process of doing that, oftentimes you'll find avenues for better relationships and also working on much larger things.
Great, thank you. And on behalf of Councilmember Matias, I'm going to ask his question. Let me start with Mr. Woodard.
Okay.
What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
A healthier community, number one. Healthy. And just seeing kids be more happier. That's my cut dry answer. Healthier and happier.
Great, thank you for that. I'm going to go with Mr. Riley. Would you like me to repeat
Yeah,
the question?
maybe.
What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
Well, I'd like to see some of the programs and a lot of the programs that we're seeing start right now that have been changes to our community. Some of the new things that are happening, like the concerts out in the park, some of those types of things, but also the new activities that we're providing for the public, disc golf, paddleball, or whatever they call that, right? And I'm sure that there are other sports out there, you know, that's a community and the youth would like to see us, you know, be able to offer to them.
Great. And Mr. Bartow, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I got it. You know, similar answer, more of these events that I've seen the success of, I see the Thursdays at Kids Wonderland Park. And the success of that, like Mr. Woodard said, I think when the parents are getting involved and bringing their kids there, that you're just getting more of the community involved. And I think that ultimately that's what it takes. So yeah, more of these events that are bringing the entire community out and familiarizing with the Parks Department and then everything else that's available, the programs that are available that they can be educated on when they come out.
Fantastic.
That is our last formal question of you. Do any of you have questions for us? We also have our director of GVRD here. Any questions that you might have for us?
No, I'm good.
What do you see as the biggest problem posed to the GVRD?
Oh, I can't say it's just one thing. I mean, it'd be nice to say, there's one thing, let's fix that. We've been working on our buildings for the past few years because they weren't fixed up or brought up to code. We've kind of got a handle on all of those. Sure, there still needs to be improvements, but so there's that. But now shifting more towards the youth, we just started a youth council. So having programs and activities, and the city's been very gracious in helping support through Measure P activities for not just little kids, but a wider range of children to young adults. So, and then there's always the budget. We just did a survey and, we don't charge as much as, everybody complains about prices, but we are trying to increase the scholarships. We are, people like to go to American Canyon and Benicia, but we're trying to figure out what is our core when it comes to recreation. Parks, it's trying to keep them clean and safe and green. But when it comes to recreational activities, again, what do people want? When you hear a lot of comments of like, this is what we want, and then you provide it and no one shows, or just very few people show, it's kind of disheartening. So I didn't really give you one answer, but I think if you all kind of get the gist of what we want to do.
Thank you.
All right, well then, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, everybody, for the rest of your evening.
was in the way, yeah. I would not remember. How are you? Nicer again. Oh, that's right. Hello.
How do you do, everybody?
Good. How are you?
Cool. I'm trying to get Muschetti some sponsor time. Okay, right there.
Oh. That's sponsored.
Yeah. They gave me the free coffee. Just turn the phone off, right? Serious. Yeah, that's good.
All right, we're going to pull back together as our council members rejoin the table. We have David Marsteller Jr. as our applicant for this period. We have a series of questions. We'll go right down the line, ask you questions, and then at the end, we'll be able to afford you the opportunity to ask questions of us.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I have Peter Bergenzer. I'm the vice mayor. Our mayor is currently ill tonight, so she's not with us. And I will ask the first question. David, can you please give me an example of programs for youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate it. And by the way, good evening to all you fine council members and anybody that's watching. I appreciate the time. And right off the bat, girls softball, non-existent. How do I handle that? I would recruit my dad from Southern California who has extensive experience in travel ball, club softball, and won national championship. Not only that, had his chance at being a professional baseball player. I already told him I would bring him up here to not resurrect the program, but actually help with recruiting the coaches, the staff, the mind frame. I've been told many stories from like even Mr. Bonner, who was running against you, that he remembers when Vallejo was competitive sports. And that's one of the things is bringing Vallejo as being a beacon of competitive sports. And not only just Solano County, but the Bay Area, America. I mean, one of the nice things about diversity comes with athleticism. And we have that. The children are starving for it. Not only that, currently we had a soccer coach here. We lost Coach Herman to Palo Alto. And I'm glad that we refined his abilities because they were about to try to build a soccer field on Mare Island. And he took all of his knowledge and everything that he was gaining to use at our city, and now we lost it to another city. But luckily, we still have his wife and his daughter. But one of the things is the programs I would resurrect is the girls softball league, the boys baseball, the soccer. We already have the flag football, and just I would resurrect the competitiveness in Vallejo. And at one time, you all were getting participatory budget board money. Like each council member was supposed to get like 50,000. We could use that to create district sports, 6 district competitions amongst the districts, and then the best one we go against Solano County, right? So yeah, that's one of the first things is I've found out is there's no girls softball league here.
So thank you so much. And I will turn this over to my colleague.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
In this role, how would you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, affected by sexism, and affected by classism?
In terms of your question, is that like economically, is that what you're coming at? Is like that, like
However you see it, when you think of those 3 key areas.
well, if you're talking about economics, because which we do have a very large base of community that is low income, is that everybody wants something for free, but we can't do that. But how about volunteering? If you can't afford to have your child financially be there, volunteer. Many other programs do that where if you can't afford it, you volunteer. Now, in terms of racism and all that, that's not allowed. And that's the beauty about sports, is it makes you see through the outside and into the character of the person. I have a very belief that sports does not build character, it reveals it. And that's what the thing is we would use competitive sports, especially amongst our youth. I'll give you an example. I come from a dynasty youth league football in Southern California, Riverside Rams. I still to this day am bonded to those people. When I was 13, we won the championship. We're actually talking about doing a 1993-94 reunion. So the kids are missing out on the bonding. We're not having the girls, competitive girls sports, competitive boys sports. When they come together, they're not going to see the outside. They're going to judge each other based on the effort. And if you get the right coaching, and this comes from my own experience as a coach, I used to coach for that dynasty football team. Well, I ended up, me and my father got talked into going and helping out one of these leagues that was a joke. And we find out where their priorities were. And so we learned that you can't assume that everybody knows how to do this. I mean, you got it. Like, I mean, these kids didn't even know their right from left. And it taught me how to start from the very bottom and work your way up and still not give up on those that are lacking the effort. You're only as strong as your weakest link. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want to be using the word weakest link, but it's just being practical. And I always say that football's like life is like football. You only have 30 seconds to make a decision. You don't have time to this is my opinion or like it's like we all got to be on the same page to win. And that's the beauty of competitive sports. It brings out the character and it takes away the outside appearance. And so you're judged on your effort. And so that is a way that we could fight people's prejudices. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see that here in Vallejo. I mean, I'm part of a lot of our major events. We just did the Mare Island Block Party. It's a rainbow of humans there, having a good time, enjoying themselves. We've never had a problem, no fights, no nothing. And this is a good community ready for something to get behind, and support. And what better way than competitive youth sports? We also, like Coach Herman, he was certified to bring semi-pro, pro soccer. And now what that offers is opportunity. Like soccer is worldwide. You have worldwide leagues, you have the Olympics, you have college. And if you can't make it there, you can at least become a coach. And so our recreation programs can not only offer that, but then you got the festival end of it, events. And that's another part I'd like to bring is the event part of it. Everything that I'm part of is here. We take it over there on the parks. And I'm currently trying to get in with like one of the schools. And I believe that Vallejo could be a 24-hour city where it's 24-hour activities going. How do you do that? You got to dilute the community with event organizers. So I want to work with the kids, with the youth about building their own events. What does it take? Insurance, marketing, permits, all of that. So when they become 18, they go out and do their stuff. So there's not just events that's us, that the same people that keep doing it. Now we have more people and more people. And again, if you have a skill or something you can offer somebody, people generally don't care what you look like. You know what I mean? You could dress like a big chicken, but as long as you could fix my car, I don't care. You know, and that's one of the things is getting it to where people look at the quality of your character and not judge you on your base. I mean, look at me, right? I mean, I look like a caveman, but I hope that I could earn your guys' respect based on what's coming out of my mouth, my experiences and my character. And that came from competitive sports, my coaches, mentors. It's very important that our youth get around older adults that mentor them, that bring the best out of them. I hope that that answers your question, Councilman Lujer.
Thank you, David, for applying. The question I have for you is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Communication. And the number one thing is getting the community excited about GVRD. Part of what I do here in Vallejo is communication. I'm on OzCat. I'm on all the social medias. Currently, I've reached out to actually the Times Herald about doing an article about 15 people are going for this one spot. That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's my thing is that communication, and that's based on my experience working with the soccer program, working with the flag football program, and just hands-on communication, not just a phone call or anything, but actually showing up to the parks, making sure that it's flowing. And then another part is vision. Wilson Park, for example, that's a pipeline into Vallejo. Our visitors and people are driving down Cortola, seeing that park 7 days a week active. What does that do to a community and its morale? Is seeing that park active, and then you have baseball, and then you open up. I already talked to like the Chalou about that. If I was the GVRD, I would go and say, please use that area every Saturday to come park your cars and all that right there. And then you have the seaweed play, you have a soccer thing, and then you have, hey, guess what? Go across the street. There's free coffee at Moschetti's and an environment. And then now you start having presents. Everybody's like, that corner's kicking some booty. And now maybe that encourages the church to knock down Faith Food Friday and put up something more respectable. So it brings presence. And so that's something that I feel that I could do is help bring presence to our parks in terms of events, recreational sports, and also working with GVRD to encourage that. And then how do we do it, right? How are we going to get the parks active? I work with everybody that does events in this city. All we do is, I was hoping to get them all here because I could just say, all you got to do is they're just a phone call away. You go do this, you go do that, you go do this. And one more thing on your question is also copying other cities that work. Berkeley right now has an adopt a park system. We bring in all our nonprofits to help alleviate funds from GVRD to be able to put towards something else, and we let the parks be taken over, some of them by the nonprofits. What does that do? That's encouraging the community to get involved. And it's like we're giving GVRD back to the community. We're working with them. So you asked me, what we could do is, one is communication, vision, and encouraging people to get active in GVRD, working side by side community. Hope that answered your question.
Thank you for that very thorough answer.
Hello, how you doing, David? It's good to see you. As you know, I'm City Councilwoman Gordon, District 6. I'm happy that you applied. My question is, name a time that you did not get what you wanted and describe how you dealt with it.
I moved on. You move on and you learn and you come back at it. I applied for this position 2 years ago. It was here. I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. Now I learned, seen. I've been around people. I've been around and I come back. I ain't giving up. How about this? Well, I don't. If it's worth fighting for, you know what? You fell. You know, it's wins and learning. W's and L's. Wins and learning. And so if I don't get my way, or if I don't get what I want, I got to go back and assess why it didn't work out. And the last time I came here, I didn't know very much about GVRD. I knew about events and promotions and all that, but not exactly what the recreational programs, what we have to offer. I had never dealt with programs that are using GVRD. You know, I never thought about how GVRD is not just parks and recreation, but it's also an economic driver. If you start having strong recreational programs, I mean, just from my own experience, what happens after you go to the games? The families want to go out to eat. And that's where if you combine cross-promoting with the businesses and give them the schedules of what's going on, that we roll out the red carpet for the home team and the visitors. So like I was saying, like the Wilson Park, imagine coming from another city and you go there and you're like, wow, there's a car show, there was a baseball game, and then they had free coffee tasting. And so to answer your question is that if I don't get it, if it doesn't work out for me, I first assess why it didn't work out, and then I come back. And that's why I'm here right now in front of you good folks.
Thank you
Hope
for
that
answering the
clear.
question.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Thank you for applying. How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD, and throughout the entire Vallejo community?
Well, you start with the grassroots effort and getting the community to become aware of GVRD and what they do. And so you first we got to create excitement in amongst our own community, supply and demand, right? I've been to some of the GVRD meetings and I've spoke to some of the board members and they're like, nobody shows up. So we don't know what the community wants. So that's the first thing to do is get the community involved and start participating, showing up, asking to do parts of the events. So that's just the community. Now, Solano County, when we do competition, recreational programs, we got to let them know that when you come here, we're rolling the red carpet out to you and your team that are coming here. Come eat over here. I've already, when I was the operations manager for the Empress Theater, I was already talking with the downtown restaurants about if you were to show up with a ticket saying that you're going to the Empress, that you would get like a 10% discount. So we would do the same thing that if our visitors show up because of our restaurants will have a schedule knowing what games are going on. And if they show up with a jersey, we offer 10% discount. So we roll out the red carpet to Solano County, to our visitors. And that's the first thing is that's as far as we can go right now is getting people to want to come to Vallejo. And when they do, wanting to stay here, spend a little money, and heck, maybe even want to live here. And so that's the one thing I would do with Solano County. And now in terms of the Bay Area, well, now that comes to where we were talking about opening up a soccer field, state-of-the-art soccer field, and making us a destination hub. How would that tie into GVRD? Well, then GVRD has to be a destination hub. Our recreation sports has to be at the top of the line competitive, because a lot of people, they will move. You think about how much money goes into, if you have a child that goes, it's part of a club, you're talking thousands of dollars a year that you're spending every year. And you want to be part of a competitive rec program. Now you're talking about, now that's the rec program, festivals. Festivals. Blue Rock Springs, I believe, can hold, what would you say, Gabe, 30,000 people? 40,000? 20,000. Okay. 10,000. We start doing large scale events like San Francisco had the Outland concert. We start trying to open up our parks to the concerts, to the festivals, and that's how we can reach the Bay Area. That's how we can reach Solano County, not just with our rec programs, but with what events we have. And we have great promoters, Fraser and Traeger, they just did the Dock of the Bay, Jacqueline Barsotti, I mean, Demi back here, I mean, this guy, Jack Martin, I mean, we all have visions of seeing a Burning Man here, or the waterfront, Mardi Gras. And so that's how we can reach out to the Bay Areas. Look at what Vallejo's doing. And then look at the great cross promotion that's going on, that you come here. So like, let's say you come and you have a game and you're a visitor, and then there's cross promotion, go to Bambino's and you get a little discount. They go over to Bambino's. Well, Bambino's now has a whole entire flyer of all of the events going on for the rest of the month or 2 months. And then they go and say, hey, you know what? We're going to be back here in 3 weeks. And look, we're going to be here at the same time. They're doing some little concert here and there, and they circle their calendar, and it makes them want to stay here in Vallejo and spend some money. And so I hope that was able to answer your question of how do we include just the Vallejo community, the Solano County community, and the Bay Area community. And I would like to say the California community, the United States community, the world community. I believe Vallejo is a destination to travel. Just Saturday, I was talking to someone that was from Atlanta. They came down here to come see what's going on in Vallejo. We have visitors, and our parks can be an economic driver. It's not just park maintenance, but it can also be an economic driver, bringing people here and the cross promotion and rolling out the red carpet and showing people what the heck this city's about. And we got the people to do it. I'll just give you this last example is Burning Man. That is you've heard of Burning Man, everybody here? That is ran by a community, not government, no government officials. That's all community. And we got those people here in this city. We got the people that go and put on the waterfront festival, the downtown festival, the Main Street Committee. We got the people on Mare Island. We got so many Vallejo Project. You got what's Jamila Hanif's Watch Me Grow. We have a strong network of people that could post huge citywide. What happens if, like, you know how they do the Main Street? It's the 4 Thursdays. Why not do something like that on our parks? Each park has something big. And also, can you imagine you come to some soccer tournament or flag football and they're doing a festival at the same time that you're there to do some recreational stuff? Man, you're going to trip people's brains out. They're going to want to live here. That's the goal, is we want to make people stay here and want to live here. I hope that was able to answer your question, council member.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Marsteller. Thank you for applying. My question is the following. What does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
With me as the board? Or, what, if I, eh, if you have someone in GVRD that knows how to see talent and nurture it and not let it leave, I see a great future. Like with Coach Herman, I was really working with him, and he still wants to be part of this, but unfortunately, we lost him to a city that's paying him money. But with him, he would be able to start a whole entire citywide rec program. Not only just a rec program, a club program where he was involved with the Olympic Jamel mental team. And like Vallejo United is a club program where the Olympics, the way that's organized and the rules and all this, it makes it to where the colleges pull out of it, the pros pull out of it, the Olympic team pulls out of it. And so with a strong recreation program, it offers futures for our youth. Not, maybe they're not going to make it to the pros, maybe they can make it to college, but they get character out of it. And so the recreation program is very vital of building character in our youth and building unity and making our youth love Vallejo. Like that's one of the things that I see in our city is sometimes people lack pride in this city. And with strong recreational program in 2 years, which it can happen very quick if you have the right people that know how to put it together, and there's a sense of urgency. Like, let's get it done. No more no's. Oh, we can't, I don't know. Let's hire a consultant firm. Or, no, let's get the right people in there, make it happen. We're gonna, hey, it's Murphy's Law. What can go wrong is gonna go wrong. Let's be proactive and still keep going. And like recruiting someone like my father. My dad will come up from Riverside, and he would help build the baseball and softball program based on seeking out the talent in our city that are the adults that have played baseball, have done youth sports, and get that going. And then now it comes down to the financing. Are we gonna get where's the money gonna come through? And that's where you guys come in. And but in 2 years, if you got the right people that know how to find the talent and nurture it and don't let it leave here, you're gonna need people like Coach Jeff Herman. He was part of Solano Splash. He was there for 15 years. Riverside Rams, where I came from, that family ran that league for 30 years. That's what we need here in Vallejo. Because one, what happens, you don't have to think about it. Takes pressure off of Gabe, where you don't, when you have someone that's taken off with it, you don't have to worry about it. Let them do it. Let them spread their wings and see what they can do. And if you can do that, like with Coach Herman, we could have seen a difference in 1 year. He had he had his nonprofit, everything. Rise FC was completely ready to get up and go right now, but we lost them. So if we're able to keep the right people, the talent, the adults that are going to run this, oh man, it could change in 1 year. It could change in a couple of months. In 2 years, we could be competing for something. You know what I mean? It could be a whole change in dynamics. And so if you have GVRD, you got city management and encouraging, nurturing, let's do it. You're going to allow people to open their wings. These talented humans that we don't even know about yet, like Coach Sarna, the Sarna, letting them open their wings, letting them see what they can do, and encouraging them. No suppressing them. No, we can't do this, but like here, you get this field, you get that field, and make it happen. I mean, the Sarna League, 3,000 kids in the county. They got 1,200 just here in Vallejo. Can you imagine a citywide flag football tournament where 3,000 families come here? Times that by 4, right? We could be looking at 5 to 10,000 visitors for Vallejo, and that's going to go citywide. We got to let everybody know, hey, it's not just recreation, but what recreation could do for us. So can you imagine 3,000 families at what? Let's just say two parents. You're looking at plus the kid, plus the parents, you're looking at what, 9,000 possible humans running around this city. What is that going to do for our economy? So that's why I say that GVRD is just not parks and recreations. This is an economic driver, and I come from the tourist part. And I say this is because we got to start giving people reasons to come to Vallejo. Recreation programs do that. So it's not only just important for our kids, it's important for our businesses. It's important for future businesses. It's important for presence in Vallejo. And think about all of our parks being active. That brings presence. It gets it to where people that are loitering, they're like, I'll go somewhere else, like give it to the kids, right? And so in 2 years, not only do could see if we get the right people in charge of running these programs, but what it'll do to our economy here in Vallejo. And so, yeah, I see that GVRD is very important, and that's why I've gotten involved, because with GVRD, they're just focused on this, where, you know, the council, you guys are this, right? It's you got your focus is spread out, where with GVRD, it's just the parks and recreations, and then that's your assets. What can you do with it? And so, yeah, I believe 2 years, not only could we get it up and running, but also get the businesses involved. You think about all of the restaurants you've been to in other cities where they have pictures of the teams that they sponsor. Everybody's ready. I've already done all that. My job is to make it easy and short for him. And I already talked to all the businesses about me coming on this, and this is what I want to do is I want to get them businesses involved and start sponsoring these teams. I mean, the money is ready. The money isn't ready. It's just the collaboration. So even if it's not me, at least you have an idea. I'll still help out. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, I want to have a business here that eventually I'm going to do my own shows, but I can't do it because nobody, you know, right now Vallejo's there's more negativity out there, and we need to balance it and surpass that, you know, with events and people taking pictures, like the Dock of the Bay. Why I love that so much is because all the footage people were sharing on social media about that. We need more of that. We need more people like, hey, look at me, I'm over here at Dan Foley, we're doing this, or my kids are playing soccer, my kids are playing softball, taking pictures, and it floods the internet with good content about Vallejo. I hope I was able to answer your question, Councilmember.
Thank you, Mr. Marsteller. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. That was our last formal question for you. Do you have any questions for us?
Not at all. I appreciate your time, and good luck with all of this.
Well, then, thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that last one.
Nicole, which one is Nicole? Is
That's
that you?
me.
Okay, and Rita? Excellent, excellent. We'll let you get settled.
Sure.
I am Peter Bergenzer. I'm the vice mayor. Our mayor is out sick tonight, so you have all of us. We're going to go through and we'll ask you a series of questions. We'll each take one and ask you a question, and then we'll have time at the end for you to ask questions of us.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
All right, well, I will ask the first question, and my first question is, and we'll start with you, and then we'll work our way down. Can you please give me an example of programs for youth that do not currently exist that you would like to see developed?
Great, thank you. That's a great question. One of the things I'd like to see developed is forensics debate for the youth. In college, I was a collegiate debater, and we did everything from parliamentary to Lincoln Douglas to Worlds and traveled. And I think that's one of the things that really helped develop not only confidence, but also your ability to communicate. And in life, no matter what you do, you have to be able to communicate, and you have to be able to do it confidently. So if there was a program like that, I think not only would I be able to help to run that program, but I would be able, because I also went to debate camp and all the other things. I was a debate nerd, but but I think it would really, really help to just build the confidence and have that camaraderie with some of our youth in Vallejo.
Excellent.
Nice.
I think that's a phenomenal idea, by the way. I was thinking more so towards STEM programs. I'm in a engineering field currently. And so I helped to establish, NSBE Junior, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, and Society of Professional Engineers local chapters for ages. I think we were at 8 to 15 at the time in the place where I grew up. It was kind of a tough community. I grew up in Gary, Indiana. So when you take a look at the number of opportunities that are there for youth, they just aren't there, right? I think that the ability to be able to create a program that really focuses on, robotics and STEM, it gives kids an opportunity to, one, develop relationships within the community outside of their school. But then it also helps to, kind of get them on that track, right? And have an outlook of, yeah, I'm going to college because robotics is cool, and being, an engineer and a nerd is okay. So, yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Yes, it is okay to be a nerd. I'll turn it over to my colleague.
I concur. It is okay to be a nerd.
Yes.
Thank you both for being here. In this role, how would you support equity for those who have been disproportionately affected by racism, affected by sexism, and affected by classism? And I'll start to my left.
Very good question. I think one of the major advantages that we have in Vallejo is our diversity. When you look in terms of the contributions that immigrants in particular, that people of color have made to this country, this community, I think that it is important for us as a community to look in terms of how can we do more when it comes to reach? How can we do more when it comes to those areas that are underserved? When we look in terms of the Crest and other communities throughout Vallejo, it becomes important to let those kids know that we care, right? So whether it be from after-school programs, whether it be, I think that the city did a phenomenal job when it came to late night basketball, for example, this year. Programs like that really connect with the community. I think that it does nothing but bridge those relationships and show worth to those underserved communities.
I would love to, of course, piggyback off what you said, which I do think that one of the best things about Vallejo is the diversity. I do think that hands down is one of the best things that Vallejo has to offer. And what I would want to do is focus on finding ways to make sure that there are activities that the kids can afford to be able to attend. I love the idea about the STEM. Love, love, love it. And I know that during the summer, there's a half day, I think it is, session where there is something related to STEM and robotics, but it's very expensive.
Yes.
I think it's $300+ for just a half a day for the kids, and most kids can't afford to do that. So one of the things I would try to do is work on getting sponsorships, as well as making sure there's activities that are just within a reasonable price range. One of the activities that you guys, or one of the places that you guys have right now that are doing an excellent job with that is the Aquatic Center. The Aquatic Center, in my opinion, does excellent job, even with swim camps, with the lessons. They have it at a reasonable price range, and then they also offer scholarships to a couple of students, or excuse me, a couple of kids who may not be able to afford it. I don't know the logistics on how they get the funding for the scholarships, but that's something I'd want to look into and see if that could be provided to other kids in other activities as well. Just recently, you guys had the floating pumpkin patch, which those activities, that and the movie night. I know you guys stopped doing the movie, but those are things that are inexpensive. Families can do it, and it's affordable. And so, looking to see how that's possible with the aquatics and do it throughout GVRD is something that I'd want to focus on.
Thank you both for those great answers. And let me start with Ms. Fryer. The question I have for you is, what is your primary focus to improve at GVRD?
Marketing. I find myself a lot of times, I'm the one who's telling my friends and family about different activities and events. And I know that you guys have the newspaper, and the booklet. I personally read the booklet. I look at the links, but it seems like for some reason, a lot of Vallejo residents are still not aware of everything you guys have to offer. And they're not aware of how great some of these activities that you guys have to offer are as well. So I would have to find a way to market more, maybe through schools directly. I'm not 100% sure how it would be done, but I know that marketing is the biggest thing. I read it, but not everybody else does. And finding a way to reach out to everyone and get them and pull them in would be probably my biggest thing I'd focus on.
Thank you for that answer. Ms. Person, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I was actually going to steal Mrs. Fry's answer.
To work together.
We do. It's a 2-for-1. Marketing is, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? When you think of the demographics within Vallejo as it relates to the youth particularly, I think the last statistic I saw was, and I could be wrong, was we had about 25% of the population, which was under about 24, because they categorized it 18 and up, and then there was a like 21 to 29 demographic there. But she's correct. Our community, when you think in terms of those who have access to the internet and technology, it's about 96%, which means we need a larger social media presence, whether it be Instagram, whether it be, Facebook. I'm connected through Vallejo Community, but we do need a stronger presence. So not to steal Ms. Fry's complete answer, I think the other way where I can see that we can be impactful is really the way that we're using our resources. We have limited resources, I understand, when it comes to GVRD. So, for example, when you look in terms of Little League fields, right? Which ones unfortunately, we need to either consolidate or use for other use so that we can focus on those that are viable and actually require less upkeep. And how is that broken out by density, right? We have some very dense areas that could benefit from, upgraded park services, right? And then we have some, populations that are less dense, that may not need some of those, or would, prefer to, be within walking distance or commuting distance of a park that basically has better facilities. So that's the other place where I see that we can really make a difference.
Thank you for those great answers.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for applying. We appreciate you taking the time out. My name is Helen Marie. I am representing District 6, last name Gordon. I'd like to say, name a time that you did not get what you want and describe how you dealt with that. I'll start with you, ma'am.
Well, I think you probably have talked to my family already because I never get what I want. You know, it's interesting when you're working in team environments. I think the end goal becomes more important sometimes than individual egos. And sometimes you're going to have competing priorities, right? One of the things that I pride myself on is really, you know, working well in collaborative environments, finding the best solution, right? And it may not always be mine. However, I believe that collective minds really determine success. So there's been plenty of times in which I've made a suggestion or in which I didn't necessarily get my way. But, you know, actually in some cases, I'm glad because the solution was something that I didn't think of, and it turned out to be amazing. So I think it's just part of working in a team and kind of putting ego aside in achieving the greater good.
Thank you so much for that answer. How about you? Would you definitely repeat it?
No, thank you. Um, wow, like you said, there's a number of times, almost on a daily basis, especially being a mother and a wife, that I don't necessarily get what I want. But you have to look at the greater good. Is the greater good going to receive the better outcome? And does that necessarily mean I'm going to get what I want? No, sometimes it doesn't mean that, but you have to do what's best. And so a lot of times I'm finding myself looking at the situation and seeing what is the outcome that I'm trying to reach. And maybe somebody else has a better idea, and maybe you have to go with that idea. But there's plenty of times I can tell you, even at work, just as recently as today, where we're working on a project, and in my mind I see a streamlined, simple way of doing things, and I work for the government, and they say, no, it's not how we do things. I just started this job, so they say, no, we don't do it like that here. And I'm like, well, why do we have to do this and this? We can just do this. You say, no, can't do it like that. And I'm frustrated, but at the same time, I have to understand that, hey, not only did I just get here, I have to assess the situation, learn the ropes, and then from there be able to provide my feedback. And then hopefully it's taken, into consideration, and eventually the process is changed. So sometimes you have to look at the situation and say, okay, this may not be exactly what I want or how to do it, but I have to accept the answer that I'm receiving and then grow from there. And that's pretty much what you do. You can't blow up and be mad and walk out. I mean, you got to take it and, go from there.
Thank you for answering me that question.
Good evening. Thank you both for applying. I'm gonna start with Ms. Fryer, correct?
Yes.
How would you increase positive relationships between the city of Vallejo, Solano County, Vallejo City Unified School District, and GVRD, and also throughout the entire Vallejo community?
Great question. I always go back to communication. Trying to have events, as many events as possible, of course, within reason and our budget constraints, but being able to bring everybody out. I think a lot of times there are issues with relationships because some people just don't take the time to meet and talk and be face to face and interact with each other. So having activities and events where people can just get together and talk and bond from there is probably one of the biggest things. Also, one of the best things that you guys have is in October, that first weekend of October, where city council members and people from Vallejo all come out to that event right there on the waterfront and just talk to families. Just talk and have conversations. And sometimes you're probably going to get people who are mad about potholes or something, but you're able to have that one-on-one conversation and interaction. So I would say more activities like that where you're able to have that face-to-face, that one-on-one, and hopefully be able to build bridges and bridge the gaps from there.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Person, would you like to repeat the question?
No. I completely agree. The waterfront event is a fantastic time for the entire community to get together, right? It's accessible. It allows people who don't have reliable transportation to make it. It's a free event. So You know, parents aren't feeling as much pressure to not attend just based upon the fact that they can't, you know, afford to be there. Um, I think one of the ways that I would increase that cohesiveness between VRD and Solano County, um, and, you know, Vallejo Unified, I think was one of the,
Yeah, the school
Yes.
district, yep.
as a whole. You know, believe it or not, the National Night Out is usually a great event. It allows, you know, communities, you know, and neighborhoods to have, you know, Vallejo PD come through and, you know, several other folks come through. My thought was always like, why don't we do a Vallejo Night Out where you can do something similar to that at a place like the waterfront? It doesn't have to be, you know, in the summertime. It could be fall, right as the kids are going back to school. It gives the community a feeling that we're all connected, right? So we don't have city council over here and we have Vallejo PD over here, you know, and we have, you know, Vallejo Unified over here. We actually have some events that we could put together where, you know, you race a cop, right? Where you literally have, you know, a 5K, you know, of, you know, Vallejo students competing against their local, you know, police. You know, how cool is that? Or city council, if you guys are feeling kind of froggish, right? You know, yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. You get your steps in too, so everybody wins, right? Yeah, I believe in you guys. I believe in you. Right. Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. But prior to moving to Vallejo, I've been here now for about 12 years. I lived in Dublin. And one of the things that really encouraged me to apply for this role is I saw the way that Dublin handled their, you know, recreational um, district. And I just thought in terms of everyone needs that. You know, St. Patty's Day, there was always a St. Patty's Day breakfast where the community came out and made pancakes for, you know, the firefighters, and there was a parade and there was a walk. And to say that it brought the entire community out, I mean, it was one of the events everyone looked forward to, you know. So even if you couldn't run, you know, you did the, you know, the trot, walk kind of situation. And members of the community there, you never get a chance to meet your neighbors. It was one of the things that attracted me to Vallejo because everyone was so friendly. Within Dublin, you basically worked, you went home, and that was it. And I was there for 10 years. I probably met outside of the recreational district 3 neighbors in 10 years, right? That was the only event that really brought everyone out. So I think that would be one of my suggestions.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, and thank you both for applying. I'm gonna start with this person. My question is the following: what does the future of recreation in the next 2 years look like to you?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, I think that it is inclusive. I think that when you look at, you know, Vallejo has a smaller percentage of aging population when you look in terms of demographics. I suspect that with, you know, baby boomers aging out, Gen X coming in, that number is only gonna increase long term, right? So we'll need to support that senior population with activities outside of the special events, you know, the Zumba classes and things like that. I also think that you have a generation of Z-Gens that, you know, will be, you know, somewhere within the 20 to 30 range at that point. You want them to stay in the community. We need to keep, you know, that demographic within the community. So we'll need some events that appeal to that demographic, whether it be book clubs, whether it be, using certain resources that we have in GRVD to set up what I would like to call longer term events outside of special events. So that's the way that I see basically this organization supporting the population.
Thank you, Ms. Fryer. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. I see it being just promoted more and having more participants. I see there being more of a connection with other things that are happening in the community. There's a lot of things, great things that GVRD is doing, but there's also a lot of great things that are happening in the city of Vallejo, and there isn't really a crossover. You have the 5Ks that happen at Mare Island. I would love to see GVRD somehow be able to be a part of that, or even do a turkey trot themselves like other cities have. You have the glass blowing place in Mare Island. I would love for somehow GVRD to be able to have maybe during the summer glass blowing, maybe not for the kids, maybe teenagers, but a glass blowing activity or summer course where that could happen there. There's a lot of great things happening for the city of Vallejo, and I think that GVRD can find a way to be a part of that, offer some classes periodically, or even make it into a summer session. But just being able to weave all of that. Another thing you guys have that I don't think many people know about is your all abilities classes. They're usually, I want to say, on Mondays. And if there was a way to have that on a weekend so that more kids can be involved, and also to promote it more, because there's a lot of great all abilities classes that you guys are offering, but I don't think many people know about it. So just getting the word out more, communicating, promoting, and then also communicating with local businesses to see if there are other activities that GVRD can be a part of.
Thank you both. Vice Mayor?
That is our last formal question for you. Do either of you have questions for us? We also have the director of GVRD here with us. Do you have any questions for us?
All right.
Oh, no. I
Here
thought
we
you were
go.
pulling out a whole list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of my best and worst traits is that I have crazy curiosity. So bear with me. So help me understand for the board role, what is generally the time commitment involved?
Sure. So there's 2 board meetings, the second and fourth Thursday of every month. Starts at 6:30, usually ends at around 9:30. Then there's also committees. So someone would be called, at least one committee, maybe 2, no more than 2. So sometimes someone wants to be on 3 or 4. Then we have to curb that enthusiasm. So then the committee meetings are once a month. They usually last about an hour. Sometimes there's that, it swings. So you can have like committee members, half hour, they're done. There's one committee right now that likes to go for an hour and a half. But it's also, the time and date are set by the committee members, not by the employees. So for instance, people working, we'll have it in the evening. Some committees, people have the luxury of being able to make morning meetings. So that's all dependent upon the committee members, and there's 2 committee members for each committee. And then there's occasionally a ribbon cutting, or we have an all-staff meeting coming up where we cook breakfast. The executives cook breakfast for the board members and
Nice.
for staff. And then we have another, in January, we have another all-staff meeting. And we ask the board members can come and, give a few words, or even, eat with us. It's not like being on city council. But no, no, I'm not all friendly here. It is building bridges. I can't, let's see, 3, 6, 7. I mean, it can be the minimal, and as long as you participate in definitely the board meetings and committee meetings, or it could be even more where you help us. For instance, we're talking about marketing.
Yeah.
That's been on our books for years, and can we afford a marketing person? and just having those kind of discussions with me and staff about, okay, what are your plans for? So it can, I don't want to say that it's like, you know, it takes your whole life, but it, you know, it is important because we also set, we decide what are the core functions. So for instance, in the past, we were trying to get all the facilities up and running and getting, you know, abatement for, there was asbestos and toxic materials in our main office of 395. We had to gut that and fix that, and that's not cheap. And the pool and just maintaining the infrastructure, but then also now we can breathe a little and shift the gears towards youth activities and senior activities. I know there's used to be called the Senior Center, but the Florence Douglass Center is right in between our offices. But we offer the Zumba and some other activities, and we started doing more for seniors now. So, and no one's been complaining like we're stepping into their lane. So I know that's a long answer to your short question of time commitment. So, I mean, maybe 15 hours a month.
Okay.
Maybe.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
You want to go back and forth with questions?
No, I'll let you know.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, do you want to ask the rest of your questions, or do you
No.
want to go back and forth between you and I?
Yeah, let's go
Okay.
back and forth. So I
Okay.
can still hear answers.
Okay,
It's
no
perfect.
problem. So in regards to the committees, I know you said there were separate committees and there was two persons per committee. How, you said they meet once a month or so, but how does communication work there? Because what if, let's say, one person's feels one way, another person feels another way? If there's not a third person, how do you break that, I guess, tie?
Well, so I kind of changed some policy. So even if there's one person adamant no, the other person adamant yes, still goes to the board because the committee gives suggestions, not directions. And I keep trying to educate them on that. And so that's where it kind of let the board decide, let the majority of the board decide. It doesn't have to be, you know, all five say yes. And in fact, it's kind of nice for me to hear, oh, there's some debate going on, and so that's how that's resolved.
Nice. I think my question would be, what have you seen as the biggest change? You've been, you know, basically with GRVD for a number of years. From, you know, just a budgetary challenge, right? We only have so much of a budget to work with, right?
Yeah.
What have you seen as the biggest challenge, I'd say, within the last 5 years or so, when it comes to, you know, really steering that process and getting to, you know, our needs versus our wants?
So I've been with GVRD since I'll be hitting 15 years in a couple months. As the general manager, I've been general manager since 2017. I think with the finances and it's a bad joke that I tell people, is that, you know, our technology for finances is a software program from 1982, basically, and they just keep updating it.
Okay.
And so January, we start to get a new finance, HR, payroll. It's like, we're going to be in the 2020s.
Nice.
So that will help us see how much money do we have right now, not guesstimating that we're going to be, we're going to be $50,000 in the hole, or we're going to be $100,000, I don't want to say profit, but sometimes it's been, oh, we had 600,000, or wow, we're going to have to dip into the reserves. So we're not in the whole 50, we have to go into reserves. So that is the transparency, the education that we're learning how much we have and how much we can spend, and to have a board decide instead of sometimes, you know, saying we have to go this way, or we have to getting pulled in 5 different directions. Just have the majority help me decide, okay, we're going to go north. Okay, I'll help you get there.
Nice. Okay. Thank you.
From idea all the way to event, how long does it generally take for something to blossom and develop?
So we used to do at Children's Wonderland on Tuesday nights. And then when we kind of debriefed it, we're like, Thursdays usually work better for families. They were ending it early, so we took the thing. So I think 1 month before we started doing the Thursday night bites, it was 1 month in, and then we're just like, okay, we're gonna move to Thursdays. We're gonna do this and that. I have to give credit to the recreation department. They're pretty adaptable. And the other thing too is I say, do something. Here's your budget, and then they come back. We want to double it. No. Do the course. So they can. I mean, it's not like 1 week they could do it, but some things take 6 months or longer. Some things that are pretty relatively easy can be done in planned in a month.
Okay. True. Nice. Well, that's all the questions that I have. I appreciate your time and answering the questions that I had and giving me more insight into the arduous task that comes with deciding, where we kind of focus efforts. So I appreciate it.
Great. Any last questions for me?
No, we're in sync. So actually, that was my last question too.
Excellent. Well,
So
thank
no,
you both
you
very
both.
much. So it's really
Absolutely.
great speaking with you tonight, and we appreciate you applying. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Absolutely.
guys did the
Thanks so
same.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Here or doesn't matter? Either one.
Welcome. We'll let you get settled. And it's Krupa, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. I'm Peter Bergenzer. I'm the vice mayor, and our mayor is currently sick tonight. So we'll have a series of questions that each one of us will ask a question, and then we'll have time at the end for you to ask questions of us. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I will ask the first question. And my question is, can you describe your understanding of the role of this board and how your strengths will benefit this board and the city?
To my understanding, that this surveillance board is for making sure the legal, financial, and advisory how the budget expect of it, and making sure it's used in a correct, like right way, properly utilized the best it is, and for the community itself, also making sure that their rights, policy, and everything is keep in mind when we make these decisions, not just one side of the expect, but also like City of Vallejo and PD department and community itself, making sure that whatever the decision is made by this committee is benefiting the both side of the expect of it. And my experience being a part of District 6, which is the South Vallejo, for 14 years, I have been seeing many changes and want to be part of it. Being a resident of the South Vallejo already brought a change to certain part of it by having a business, like being a part of the hospitality business on the South Vallejo side, which gives me a lot of experience knowing what we need and how I can be part of this board, also managing the advisory part of it.
Great. Thank you very much. And I will turn it over to my colleague.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. Some people can be resistant to change. Tell us about a time you were successful in streamlining a work process and how you got your team on board to adopt to the new change. And how did you manage people who showed resistance to change?
I totally agree, because not everyone agree to what you present. There's always going to be two sides of it. With my former part of the City of Vallejo with the finance department, I was part of a change to the business license committee when it was planned to outsource to a different company, where I brought a really good being part of the business license for the past 3 years, I had a good experience. So I presented them the whole slideshow where I told them how we can get to the maximum use of the company and make sure we get the funding out of it because of the lack of employment and where we are struggling, and being part of the transition, helping them with my more like timing, which was going to be involved, and it has to be a quick transaction in 3 months, being that there for them morning, evening, and every time, like 24 hours mostly, and make sure that the change happened smoothly and everyone were happy and we got that job done. So that was my biggest accomplishment, which I personally felt like I was a part of it and made that transaction smooth, and making sure that everyone at the end of the day are with me on this part of it.
Thank you, Cooper, for applying for the position. My question for you is, what do you hope to accomplish being on the Surveillance Advisory Board?
The accomplishment is also making sure that with my personal experience and my willingness to be part of the change and trying to learn more things, and also being right now part of the Visit Vallejo board members, serving as a treasurer, I feel like, and also advisory board member for the budgetary system for the Visit Vallejo. I think this opportunity gives me more explore to how to handle things and work on a different part of the budgeting with the city. So with my other experience, I can bring more things on the table, and personally, like learn more things being part of the city for 9 years, knowing a lot of other policies. I want to be part of this change, and that's what I feel like I can bring to here.
Thank you for that answer.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm Helen Marie Gordon, Council Representative for District 6. So I appreciate you applying. My question to you, for the Surveillance Advisory Board, what are the 3 most important traits you possess that you think will make you a successful commissioner, and why?
3 main thing is passion to do the job, the time and passion, because you need time to be for these meetings, and how also fast learner, and my past experience, how to manage the part of the change and the civil rights advocating, also also making sure that everything, like time, sorry.
Take your time, it's okay. You're doing good.
You said 3, I'm sorry. got
Yes,
that straight.
I can say it again. No worries. What are 3 most important traits that you possess that you think will make you a successful commissioner, and why?
There's time, experience, and passion to learn more, what makes me the best help.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you.
Good evening. Thank you for applying. What is your red line when considering surveillance technology? In other words, no matter the benefit, what is the potential aspect of a surveillance technology that would force you to never recommend it?
Never recommended.
Yes.
I think it's also it has to be with people's right and privacy also. So you have to keep in mind every aspect of it. There's not, I feel it's not never, but it has to be used in the right manner where it protects the people's privacy and their civil rights to disclose their information. So if it's used, the surveillance is used in a right way where every individual right is protected, I am on for it, making sure it's used right. I'm not very against it, but yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's been used for the right, protects the people's right.
Thank you.
Good evening, Krupa, and thank you for applying for the Surveillance Advisory Board. My question is the following. What would you identify as your greatest strength when it comes to working with a group? What would you identify as your greatest weakness and when working with a group? And what are some strategies you use to try to address that weakness? So greatest strength, greatest weakness, and then what are some strategies?
Greatest is, of course, the experience that I have been with my work with the city, and currently being part of the 2 Board of Advisory, which brings me so much of knowledge even from outside perspective of it, being outside of the city of Vallejo, and also being 14 years part of the hospitality business with the city of Vallejo, in the city of Vallejo. I feel like that's where my strongest part of it is, where I take my strength, where I've been knowing people and trying to advocate for them, making sure that every voice is heard, making sure that every individual voice, of course, has been heard. And the strength I take is being a strong decision maker where it comes to making sure that when we have to make a decision, I am very making sure that the decision is being made and I do my own research, making sure that everyone on the table, I hear from them and then make my decision. So that's my biggest strength. And I'm open to everyone. Doesn't matter if it's bad or good. I take everyone's advice to make my decision. That's my strength. My weakness is I take my job very seriously. So I'm very open and to people, like very open and making sure that I'm there. That sometimes I have to just take back and then think about it like, okay, not everyone thinks same, but accepting is what I take pride. So that's why, that's why my weakness too. And the third question was?
What strategies do you use to address your weakness?
I mean, strategy is, as I said, I'm open to every individual. I talk to everyone, make sure I understand everyone's part of it, and also try to explain my portion of it, what I think, with the best I can. And then that's how I handle my differences.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was our last formal question for you. Do you have any, do you have any questions for us?
Yes. So what exactly, of course, I did the surveillance board part of, I did my own thing, but what are your expectation is from this position, which has to be very, like, we have to be like this, like you're very expected.
Sure. So, I'm the council liaison, so I'll speak, and if anybody else wants to add anything, they can. This board is very important to the city, mostly to the citizens of the city, because taking everyone's privacy into consideration is very, very important to the citizens. It's also helping to build trust between the Vallejo Police Department and the community. So it's really making sure that the tools and things that the police are wanting to start using, that this group looks at that and makes sure that it does build transparency and trust with the community, and keeps their privacy at heart. And then we worry about whether we can afford it or not. It's not really up to the commission to determine what they can and can't afford for the police department, but it's really for the council to decide that. But it's really just looking at making sure that it's the best products that we can find or that we can use. And so there's a lot of people on that board that is a lot of technical savvy, that knows the ins and outs of how technology works. And they bring that forward and make sure that the community is taken care of.
And for me, the reason why this position is very important is because, yes, we want to make sure that whatever the tools are being used is going to be helpful for what it's being used for. Because like you said earlier, we want to have the balance, right? We want to make sure people's rights are protected, but also what it needs to be done be successful at the same time, right? It's a balance. And I'm happy that this is representative in all the districts, and that's why I was advocating, make sure that we have a representative from District 6 to be at that table as well. So again, I want to thank you for applying, because we know District 6 has a lot of challenges, but like you said, we're moving forward. This is the 9th month and we're doing better. So, and I think it has to do with people like yourself caring about the community. I always say hashtag stronger together. So thank you for applying.
No, thank you. Can I add something? I forgot. Sure. As you talk about the security surveillance, with the Visit Vallejo, we're already into the flock system, which we're already installing one of our. So of course, I'm as part of that.
You're already
a treasure.
Yep. Technology. Yes.
Yes, so yeah.
Excellent. All right,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you so much. You have a lovely evening. And
Thank you.
I think we vote on the 19th of November at that council meeting when we
18th?
decide the candidates. that
Okay,
we
yeah,
select.
sure. All right, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Drive home safe.
Thank you. Do you want me to turn it off or?
Hey, can you see it? Take it?
Yep, either one of them. Great. Welcome. While you're getting settled, my name is Peter Bergenzer. I'm the vice mayor of the city of Vallejo, and our mayor is currently sick tonight, so she is out. We will ask a series of questions. One of us, we'll each take one question, and then when we're through with all of those, then we will see if you have any questions for us.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get started. So I will ask the first question, and I just want to confirm, Alita and Michael.
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure we have the right people in the room before we start asking questions, the wrong list. Okay, so we'll start with Alita. We'll ask the first question, then I'll turn it over to you. So what qualities or experience would you bring that would be an asset to the committee?
Yeah, I've been in the commission for 6 months and I really enjoy it. And, in our group, we blend together just like a tapestry. Before, I only have a limited knowledge about Vallejo, but when I came into the commission, I have a wider knowledge of the Vallejo. And also from my experience, I am more of the inquisitive. I have an inquisitive mind, a critical mind. When I look into the proposal, I really look into the detail because I'm not only the commissioner, but I'm also a taxpayer. So I have two roles, a commissioner and a taxpayer. So in my experience with 6 months, I the first one that we had is the iHeart, and the second is the Greater Vallejo, and then also the road safety. And I can see that they are in congruence with the Measure P policy and the priority. So I can say that I haven't finished yet my job as a commissioner. That's why I reapply, because I know I can still have something to contribute to the commission. And also I have a good relationship with other commissioner, although I don't know them personally, but during the deliberation of the project, we really are in good terms. We don't we don't disagree. If ever we disagree, we are in a good relationship with them. But so far, I haven't had any disagreement with them because everybody has their own role, and they have their own expertise on the Measure P. Although I was new, I can say that I can still do my part as a commissioner.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Do we repeat the question for you? Or do you think you have it?
Yeah, just to be sure
Sure,
I'm answering the right one.
What qualities or experience would you bring that would be an asset to the committee?
Okay, the qualities experiences that I would bring is my years of experience working with government finance. I've worked with the Army and Department of Defense doing finance roles with them since 2005, when I got my certification as a certified defense financial manager. And then when I retired from the Army and started working with Cal Vet for the state, I started first in veteran services as a veteran service officer. And then I was quickly promoted up to a staff service manager one in charge of the finance office for the Yountville Veterans Home. And I continued to work there through, let's see, I started there in 2011, and then I continued as there through 2021 and finished as the chief business officer in charge of financial operations for the Yountville Veterans Home. At that time, I was also the Yountville Measure A, Financial Oversight Committee for Measure A representative for the town of Yountville. So I've worked with a oversight committee before with the county of Napa, and that was a really good experience to go through that. I continued with that one until they closed out Measure A, because that was the ending of it. So we wrapped it all up, completed everything, turned in our final report, and then Measure A was done. Since then, I've been working with the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, which is the California Stem Cell Agency, as their business officer until August of this year, when due to the guidelines changing on the federal side, we had to reorganize and my position was no longer required. So now I find myself with a bunch of time on my hands and an opportunity to assist Vallejo and to work more with my community, which is a great opportunity for me since things seem to align perfectly, where I can apply that experience and expertise to really become more of a participating member in my community. I mean, I moved to Vallejo in 2017, and there's such promise and potential here, even though I was warned away from it when I bought the house. And people in Yountville and Napa area was like, really, you're going to Vallejo? Like, yeah, it's great. We have a great neighborhood. It's a wonderful area. And there's so much to do here. And it's not the big scary thing that everyone thought it was. And it's wonderful. And I'd like to be able to participate more in the community with that and learning more about Measure P and how that works with Vallejo, and even seeing some of the agenda items such as a council member who was talking about for the iHeart program. I was like, wow, that's a great opportunity that we have as a commissioner to review those funding aspects and see if those really apply, which, would be great and could definitely help the community, because that's one of the challenges with civil services. You're limited with fiscal year and budget. And if you're trying to start a new program, it's really difficult.
So having a means to do that is a good thing to have.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Thank you for being here this evening. Please share, why did you apply for the Measure P Oversight Committee? What do you hope to accomplish by your participation? And I'll start to my left. Thank you.
Oh, me? Okay. I applied for it because I saw an opportunity where, as I said earlier, I could participate more with the community and learn about how things are functioning within the city of Vallejo and where we can improve things and what programs are coming up that I may not actually know about, because that's one of the challenges that I found with being in Vallejo is there's a lot of programs that are running in the city, but you don't necessarily know what they are. It's not put out real well. So I would like to be more participative in that measure and find out what's really going on and what can be done to help keep these programs going and to extend those and to use the resources that are there. And I think that's where it really comes in with Measure P, of being able to use those funds that are collected from sales revenue in an appropriate manner. And so that they're actually applied where they should be going and not where they shouldn't be going. And one of the things that I've learned through my years with working with state and then with Department of Defense is transparency is really key. I'm a strong believer in that. And that's one of the things I want to see continue and improve more with the operations of our government, is that people can see that, because as mentioned, I am a taxpayer as well. And I look at government services, you're basically self-employed. You're a taxpayer and you're paying for your own salary. So you really need to know what's happening with it and where it's going and if it's being used appropriately. That's why I applied.
The same question with me? Yeah, I want to start. I want to continue what I have started as a commissioner, and I know there are more things to be done. And also, I know that there is so many things that we have to prioritize and to also to deal with. I know there are lots of priority in the Measure P. What is in my mind? What is more urgent that has to be addressed immediately? So that's why I reapply on this position again, because I know I can do something more. And in fact, I really learned something from my colleagues and even for the other, the liaison in charge. And I really learned from you also, and also from the staff, because I am more of an inquisitive. I have so many questions in mind, and before I publicly stated it during the meeting, I also consult first with them, so that I will not be overstepping or violating anything that might jeopardize the committee. So I really want to continue as a commissioner, because I know I still have more things to contribute and also to learn more about Vallejo. Just as I said before, I have limited knowledge about Vallejo, but from that limited knowledge, I know that many things has to be done, and I have more. No, I can see Vallejo. It's a beautiful Vallejo. Even though I stayed here only for a year, I can see that there is a big potential. I heard a lot of things about Vallejo, but I don't listen to them unless I see them in my two eyes, and I can see more positive than the negative. That's why I love Vallejo, and I really plan to die here for life, to live here for life. That's why when there is an opening for the housing, I recommend them to my friends, and I'm telling them this is a nice place to live. Don't listen to the negative things, because there are more positive things that you will have here in Vallejo.
Thank you both for applying. And so my question goes to Ms. Santos first, is please describe your approach to reaching consensus with others.
Yeah, the consensus may be the majority. But for me, even though it's a majority, it doesn't mean that it is the right thing. Because, sometimes when you have this majority thing, do they really align to the principle of the Measure P? Because my mindset now is the Measure P. So even though there are many things that is going on, maybe they agree on some points, but if it violate the principle or the policy of the Measure P, I think it's not good enough. Maybe I can also advocate for the right thing to do, to also to make them agree to what is right, not what the majority says. Because I still believe what is right is very ethical, not because of what people say. Just like what I said before, many things is happening, many people are saying bad things about Vallejo. Maybe that is the consensus because majority are saying that. But for me, it's not. I can see Vallejo very progressive and peaceful because I haven't experienced anything what they have experienced. And I still believe that.
Thank you for that answer.
Thank you too.
And Mr. Bunch, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, same question. For seeking consensus, typically how I approach that is I try to listen to all aspects and opinions on various items and things that are being discussed. And if there's, things that are against what I believe or not quite what I think is right, I try to work with the individual to find out what is the what is the root issue that's trying to hold them up? What is it that's not allowing them to move forward with seeking that, with getting consensus and getting the vote to move forward? Is it one particular item? What is it really? And if we get down to what the root issue is, typically we can all figure out that either we agree with it as a group or we don't agree and this is why. And we can then discuss it better and have a better understanding. Because when you're seeking consensus, it's not necessarily that you 100% agree with everybody. It's, are you comfortable with the decision? Can you live with it or not live with it? Does it meet the requirements we have as a commission? And is it something that you agree with? And if there isn't, what items are that you don't agree with or that the other person doesn't agree with? Maybe I don't understand what they're talking about. And if I can better understand it, I may agree. I just have to know what the issue is.
Thank you for your answers.
How do you feel? Oh, sorry about that. Hello, my name is Helen Marie Cookie Gordon. I am representing for District 6. How do you feel, how do you think you would balance residents' concerns with overall city goals and long-term benefits?
Can you elaborate the question? I don't fully understand.
How do you think you can balance residents' concerns with overall city goals and long-term benefits? So how I see that would be if, could I be able to say this? Okay. So, for example, let's say you want to have concerts,
Sponsor?
concerts or more youth programs, get more youth involved, for example. And that's a resident's concern because there's nothing for our youth. How can you build with that as collaborate that with the city goals and long-term benefits? So if we're taking care of our youth, does that line up with our city where they want to come back and work here? And then the long-term benefits would be that they could be sitting here one day.
Yeah.
That's my thinking because I'm for the youth. Is that a good example?
Yes, maybe.
So let me start that question with you, Mr.
Okay. We're looking at concerns of the citizens and the goals of the city and long-term. I would want to really look at, what is the concern that's being brought up? Is it something that does align with the city goals? If it does, or if it doesn't, why doesn't it? Especially if it's something positive, like your example being youth activities and things for the youth to do. Because, I mean, I admit I have a son as well. He's 22 now, but when he was growing up and through it, idle hands are trouble. He's got to have something to do. So we were very fortunate growing up that he was involved with athletics,
Sure.
but he had those things to occupy him, which worked out really well. But that's not available for everybody. And we've also learned going through it that with some families and the challenges that they individually have, if there's not a progression path to move forward from that, there's no hope for that person in the city. And that's one of the things that I would think is part of the city goals, is to have that hope for them to grow with the city and to keep things going. And even with other things with the city, such as the See Click Fix program, that's a concern for many citizens. I know it is for my wife. It's a challenge, I'm sure, for some city departments to respond to all of those and the funding to do that. But it's those eyesore things that you see every day as you drive past, and it's like, wow, are we ever going to do anything about this? Why does the city do something? And it's trying to figure out, is that within the goals of the city? And then does the city have the resources to do it? And is there a long-term benefit for it? What can come of that by continuing to clean that up? I mean, if you're always cleaning up the same intersection because the homeless guy leaves his stuff everywhere and it keeps cleaning it up, you're going to be cleaning it up for eons until you fix the issue with the homeless guy. Otherwise the trash is always there. And I think that's one of the goals with the city. I'm not that familiar with them, is to address homeless issues and challenges with that. But I would address it and looking at it as, is that something that Measure P in my role as the commissioner could support with a program to get it started with something? Or is it going to be something that we can use the Measure P funds to start and there's not going to be budget to continue? So you're basically starting a program and going nowhere with it, when you really want to be able to start something and support it and have it continue. You don't want to just have it be a 1 year, one-off and it's gone. You're looking for that continuation, to keep it going. That's what I would look at more of, is how can I see programs and where it can go in the future, not just be a one-off and great, we used the Measure P funds 1 year on this and now it's done. Where's the benefit? So that's what I would be looking at with things.
Thank you.
I hope that answered the question.
It did.
Okay.
Can you
Ms.
say the
Santos?
question again?
Yes. How do you think you could balance residents' concerns with the overall city goals and a long-term benefit?
Yeah, I can say that it should not contradict to the goal of the city. In my experience with UNICEF, we learn about 4 rights of the child or the youth: education, participation, protection, and nutrition. So they should blend together. If they are participating, we should also consider about their protection. Maybe they are participating like doing something illegal, but it should not also interfere with the rights for protection. So I can say that it should not contradict to other elements of the city. They might have something to do, but they should also consider what are the goals and what are the policies of the city that they should not violate. Because I believe that the policies or the law implemented in the city or even in the world, they are not to punish the person, but to protect them. For example, in the traffic enforcer, maybe it's my right to do whatever I want, but is that is that beneficial for you? Will that harm you? Because I believe that law is not to be punished, the offender, but to protect, more on the protection side. So I can say that it should not contradict to the goal, more on the protection, not more on the punishment. Because, if they realize that these laws are for protection, they will all the more understand what the laws are. Not to think not to think it is as a punishment if they did something wrong, but to protect them for future, maybe for the future things that will happen to them, and even for the youth, because my heart really bleeds for the youth. When we have this interaction with the youth, when they have their proposal with us, I'm really impressed because these two ladies really speak so nicely to us, and we are very impressed. So if all the youth will be like them, and I believe they will be good leaders if we give them the right direction, and also um, for their energy to be aligned to the goals of the city, not to engage to other like drugs or whatever, but doing sports and everything. That's why I'm really impressed with the Greater Vallejo Recreation Development. That's why we approve it, because we believe that the youth is the future of our generation. The kind of youth we raise today will be the kind of Vallejo will be in the future. That's why we should always look into it to really bring them up to be a responsible citizens. And I know that when they are all in place, when we took care of them rightly, they will be good citizens. And one day they will be like you. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your elegant answer. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you both for applying. I'm going to start with Ms. Santos. What is your framework for determining what is an acceptable and prioritized use of Measure P funds?
Yes, that's what I said before. There is what you call common sense and also the pros and cons. Because in my making decision, I have line here, the pros and the cons. If the pros overweight the cons, so it is acceptable. And also in prioritizing what is more important and what is more urgent. Everything is very important. We have listed all the important items, but what is more urgent that has to be addressed now? So that's all I can say, that more urgent that has to be addressed right now, that cannot be waited for a year or for a day. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bunch, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I've got that one. My framework for addressing where the Measure P funds would go is I look back at my military training and I go back to the statute for Measure P. What's it say that we can use the money for? And then it goes back to, is it urgent? Can it sustain itself? Is there a plan moving forward with it than just the one-off funding from the Measure P? And is it something that aligns with the city's plans? I mean, you're looking at that as well. You have to kind of weigh all of those things and then listen to the arguments from everybody to see if this is something that we really should be moving forward with, or this isn't something we should be. But you have to start with the statute of what authorized the Measure P funds. I mean, it's kind of clear in there where the money should go. And if you're looking at that, that gives you the main guidelines. And then from there, it's prioritizing, because there's a lot of needs, a lot of wants, and there's only so many dollars. So it's a matter of where does it go and how does it fit?
Great. And I have to ask, is that a Fort Benning pin?
Yes.
Okay, outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah, I've 25 years infantry drill sergeant, so spent a lot of time there.
Thank you both for applying for this very important commission. I'm going to start with Mr. Bunch with my question. And that question is the following. How would you go about communicating with your neighbors and other members of the community about the Oversight Commission?
How would I go about communicating with my neighbors and other people in the community?
About the Oversight Commission.
I would pretty much go about it through the proper channels with the city and through the public affairs office is what I believe, or public information officer. I don't feel that I'm one of the people in the commission that should be taking press interviews or talking to people in the community all about the commission without having first to be sure that it's something that we're supposed to discuss and talk about. Uh, I don't want to be the one that brings that. But as far as it goes with talking with my neighbors and those about it, I would want to share with them what programs we're looking at funding and moving forward with, because those are things that impact them in the community. And I would hope and push that, the city's publicizing that and putting it out and putting it in the Vallejo newspaper and in the Vallejo online so that people know what's being discussed in the Measure P Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Bunch. And Ms. Santos, would you like for me to repeat the question?
No need. Well, I have to be discreet and probably not to disclose that I am a commissioner because I am guided by the Brown Act. So I should be very careful in doing that. But it doesn't stop me from talking to them as a individual, not as a commissioner of the oversight, because it might jeopardize my decision. And also, I know from the Brown Act, it's very scary. I don't want to overstep on that provision. But I should not stop also talking to them as an individual because, in our community, there are lots of seniors, and then they always say about security and even for the road safety, and also for the people, for the ladies on the street. I often see them there. In fact, I joined the Pillar of Hope and we talked to some of the ladies there. But I was not yet a commissioner then, but I still have to consider also for their safety. That's why I have to be discreet, not to disclose as an oversight commissioner because I'm guided by the Brown Act. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Ms. Santos, Vice Chair.
Yes, that was our last formal question for you. Do you have any questions for us?
No, the only question I have is more of an observation, and I just wanted to be sure I understood it. I noticed on the agenda for the Measure P Commission, they meet a lot.
Yes.
You know, way more often than twice a year, as I saw on the posting for the position. So how often are we meeting? Not that I have time for it, and I want to be sure that I am able to participate fully and be there. And it looks like we're meeting monthly, which is great. And I didn't know we had that many things going with the Measure P committee. Are those that many items that they're really looking at?
So my name is Alex Matias, and I'm the council liaison to the Measure P Oversight Commission. And the way the statute is written, at a minimum, that commission is supposed to meet just twice a year. One of the times to look at the audit report that sort of confirms how expenditures were made and whether or not those were made in accordance with the priorities of the ballot measure. And then there is another meeting that is called for with regards to the report, which you alluded to, you being responsible for in another jurisdiction. The reason why that commission in particular has been meeting is because there have been a lot of pressing needs, time urgent needs that we've needed their input on, and that has called for not just a lot of conversation around whether or not those expenditures are appropriate with the outlined priorities, but also for subsequent discussions that have flowed from those meetings. Many of the commissioners, and Ms. Santos can speak to, that have asked many questions and have asked for additional information on many items. And so most of those questions can't be covered in one meeting. And next thing you know, we've had 3 or 4 meetings before a decision is finally made on something. So I think it's been a combination of commissioners wanting to be well informed before making a recommendation to the council, and also the fact that we've had some pressing issues that we've had to address, like the funding of the Broadway project, like the iHeart project that you referenced earlier. And so I think over time, as we all become more well versed on what it is that we're doing with those dollars, you'll probably see a more normal cadence of meetings for that commission.
No, that's great. I just want to add, that's terrific that they're meeting that often to discuss things. That means we're really active in using the funds,
Very active.
which is great. Thank you.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Through our liaison representative, my colleague, Alex Mateus, we value your voice, right? And so input is important to us to help us make the decision. And so, and we hear, all of us has been a commissioner one way or another, and we want that time to be valid. So to us, it's important to hear from you.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, well, if no other questions, then we will wish you a good evening, and I think we vote on the 19th of November for positions on the commission, so we will see you then. Thank
Okay,
you so
thank you.
much. And we will adjourn the special city council meeting at 8:38 p.m.
Yes.